there, I'm Sheryl Goodwin Magiera, your go-to guide for life's messy and magical moments. As a farm girl turned single mom, I often wondered what life would look like after my kids were grown. Turns out, it was all about rediscovering and loving myself first. On this podcast, we'll dive into topics that touch the soul, like love, loss, triumphs, and setbacks. So grab your favorite drink and buckle up. Welcome to the Imperfectly Charming Podcast. In this week's blogcast, we are talking about dreaming and doing. Not just the dreaming part. I love dreaming up new projects, new thoughts about my life, how my life might be changing. I dream a lot. But I also know that in order to make those dreams come true, I have to start doing. So the blog that I wrote, the title of it is called Stop Dreaming and Start Doing, and it goes like this. Stop dreaming about your bucket list and start living it. Annette White. Last weekend, I was able to check something off from my list, learning how to kayak. It had been on my want-to-dos for a few years and was starting to bother me that I hadn't given it a try. However, there were a few things that stopped me in my tracks. Number one, I was not a strong swimmer. Number two, I was afraid I wouldn't be able to gracefully get in or out of the kayak with making a fool out of myself. And number three, my fear of spiders. When my daughter was younger and attended camp, she climbed into a kayak, and shortly after, her and a big black hairy spider had a showdown. The eight-legger won. She ultimately screamed, tried to get the spider with her paddle, and fell overboard. Over the years, this visual had stopped me from putting my unsuspecting legs and feet into a kayak. A few months ago, I had been on the phone with a friend and asked her if she wanted to rent some kayaks at a nearby lake. She had a fear of the water and told me she'd think about it. Then she told me two of our mutual friends had been doing it for years. I reached out to them and immediately they wanted to go. The good news was they had a kayak I could use, and it was the sit-on-top variety, and I wouldn't have to subject my lower half to anything creepy or crawly. One of the friends and I made a plan. I was so excited. The weather forecast looked great with no rain in sight. However, the morning of, it looked like the opposite and started drizzling as I was leaving. After a few discussions, we decided to go and hoped it would stop. Unfortunately, it didn't stop, but we were determined to launch. My friend gave me a few quick instructions, and before I knew it, I was in the water navigating, getting into the kayak. I got in without too much of a hitch. Hip, hip, hooray. But within a few minutes, I was on board, even though I was feeling a little wobbly. She instructed me to not lean too far to one side. Gotcha. Good tip. For the next hour, she helped me navigate the lake, the waves, the wind, the paddle, and the kayak. I was doing it. It was great to be on the water, learning something new and checking another item off my bucket list. As we headed back to shore, she was giving me a few tips on how to dismount. That, my friends, was a little trickier than getting in. Although I got out just fine, it certainly wasn't graceful. The day was a great reminder for me to stop dreaming and start doing. Is there something you've been putting off? Now is the time to start living it. I hope that you enjoyed this blog post that I read to you. It is a great reminder how action We need to take action on our dreams and our goals to make them closer, one step closer to them. So I encourage you to get out there and make something happen and stop dreaming and start doing. And I'd love to hear your stories. That's all for today. See you soon. If you love this episode, you won't want to miss my free workbook, 7 Simple Ways to Elevate Your Life. Head over to the imperfectlycharming.com website to snag your copy. And hey, if this podcast resonated with you, do me a favor, like, share, and hit that subscribe button. And until we meet again, shine on, friends.